Have you ever heard the saying, more is more? Well, when I asked our guest on the Real Finfluencers today, that's Greg Fuhrer, CEO of Baritone Advisors, I said, what is your secret to video marketing success? And he said, creating content constantly. Keep doing it over and over. Greg, it sounds exhausting.
It is, but if you sometimes I'm like, I actually get paid to do this. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. That's not because you don't work. It's because you actually love doing it. So I think in some people's brain, it's exhausting, but it actually energizes me. And actually my biggest complaint when I'm trying to figure out is to create more time in my schedule to produce more content. So we consistently produce content on Tuesdays. We have that marked on the calendar. It actually energizes me, so it's not exhausting for me.
Greg's tip number one, calendar it out. Certainly helps you stick to a content plan. Before we get to some of the cool things you're doing, and I want to show off some of your platforms because you have over 400 videos posted on single platforms. You have created a ton of content out there. I want to talk about results because if you're calendaring out Tuesdays, you're creating that many videos, what are you seeing on the business side of it? What's the business case for you with video marketing?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing about video marketing is you can't go old school and you can't say an exact number because how do you tell me it came from video marketing? See, this is the problem. People want to know the exact results. Any exact results I give you, I'm making up the numbers. What I can tell you is the growth of our business since we started doing it. And this is what I mean by it's the intangibles that you can't get down to. So the meeting prior to this, first thing I started out with, they talked about a video that they had saw online from me. Just this weekend, I get a Facebook message with somebody I used to work with 10 years ago and was just like, hey, I had a question about e-money. I'm working in a firm. And I Googled, I found you. And it was just like, they reached out to me and we reconnected. Maybe they join my firm, maybe they don't. And so I think the thing we got to remember is we know in traditional marketing, it takes 7 times before somebody takes action. And I think in today's day and age, that number is 14. So I think what the thing is, social media and video marketing is the modern billboard. And so that person that came to you that watched your video, it's just wearing them down. So when they get a referral, they're more likely to take action. So that referral I got, now this is what I like to ask, when somebody's referred to me and they call me and say, I'm here because Laura referred me. And I ask this question, sounds great. Had you ever heard of us before that? Oh yeah, I see your videos all the time. Okay, would that person have gone through with that referral? The other thing I love about it, and this is the one that I think that is true, we have about 90% of our clients come to the door qualified. We don't use some pre-qualification. We don't make them pay for an appointment or a question meeting, because when you do video content, they already know what I'm there for. Like they're already bought in to what our firm's about because they've seen so much video content that it's like there's that trust level.
When I asked you, out of all of the platforms, which stands out for you, you without hesitation said LinkedIn. And I want to talk a little bit about why you believe LinkedIn is the place for advisors.
So there's twofold. For me personally, we work with busy working professionals. So the clients that we target are typically 35 to 55. They're typically married. They're typically 2 W-2 income earners. They typically have 2 children. They typically value experiences over wealth, right? So that could mean that they want a second home. It could mean they want to travel more. So our target market lives on LinkedIn. That's the first reason. But the second reason, you got to go back to why Microsoft purchased LinkedIn and what's happened to social media with Meta and a different culture. You know, I am on a board of directors of a nonprofit. We used to be, I just finished my term up there. And I go out of the way to like everything they put on Facebook, yet I don't see all their posts on Facebook. Because you have to buy the views in Meta's world, whether it's Instagram, TikTok is still a organic platform, which is part of what led to its success. But LinkedIn's the last traditional one. It's still an organic platform. So in other words, if I just do great content and people like it and people comment on it and I play around with some of the algorithms, I can get views without paying for it. That right there for a financial planner that's trying to grow their book of business is the most important. Other reason why, there's the main two, there's a third reason why. And this kind of leads that organic thing. The people that are scrolling LinkedIn are, majority of them, trying to improve and growth oriented persons. People that are scrolling Facebook, scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok are more being, as we would call it in Pittsburgh, nebby. Right now, nebby, it means nosy in Pittsburghese. They're nebby in other people's lives. They're trying to figure out what's going on. It's like kind of somebody that's reading like a tabloid column and just trying to figure out the gossip. So they're not as quick to take action on something to improve their lives.
When it comes to the content you're posting, whether it's on LinkedIn or I'm going to share your YouTube channel also, is there a specific topic, a kind of video, something you're sharing that seems to do better?
Yeah, so it's constantly ever evolving, right? So like we used to have this big professional intro that we paid all this money for, and now it's like intros, you lose somebody. That 3 seconds, right? We keep shortening it to it. You got to get the hook within the first 3 seconds. But my general rule of thumb is people always say, well, you should have a video less than 3 minutes. Now it's less than 1:30. Now it's getting less than a minute. But I always like to use the example of Michael Kitces. Michael Kitces is somebody I follow religiously, and I think most of the people who listen to this are fans of his work. His executive summary is longer than what a blog should be, yet it's one of the most read blogs in our profession. So all the rules about how long a video should be, it has to be engaging content. Do long form and do short form. Take the long form, don't work harder, work smarter, and micro content it. We try to micro content everything. So we try to take, I have some things that are 1.5 hour long video, the history of Baritone. It's actually 3 hours, we split it into 2 parts. And guess what? It has a lot of views because people that care about our company want to know the history of our company. We've also micro content and taken the pieces out of it in 30-second segments. Because if you watch enough 30-second segments, you're gonna watch the long form. The small form leads to them wanting a bigger meal. Give them the appetizer so they want the whole meal.
One last thing, Greg. I believe I met you a couple of years ago at an FPA chapter leaders conference, and you were sharing some of the things, kind of the cutting edge or revolutionary things that Baritone Advisors was doing with video, because it's not all just about educational content. You were having some fun too. Can you tell me about a project that's close to your heart that you've produced that was something a little unexpected?
Yeah, I'll tell you that some of our most viewed videos have been us just imitating TikTok trends. You know, so one of the ones was, and I told our chief brand officer, I hate watch them, when there was a trend for a while called "Of Course," right? We're Baritone Advisors, of course we do this. Well, we have a really unique culture. Like we do a lot of weird things, right? And we're known for it across the profession. Like people in other states would be like, oh, Baritone Advisors, they're weird. Like they do this, this, and this, right? So we did a video like, of course, and it was one of the most viewed videos because it's humor. And I think that's the thing is we are in a profession that takes themselves too serious.
Such a good idea, Greg. And remember, if Greg can do it, you can do it too. If you need some help building authority and growing your practice with video, that's what we do at Idea Decanter. See you next time.